Welcome back to another super exciting episode. I've been waiting a while to release this as I've let all the news come in about the NAR settlement and as realtors how to get better. In this episode, we're going to go over in detail, enough to fill up a couple pages on your notebook, about how to prepare, what to do as realtors, and how you can position yourself ahead of everybody else that's probably not doing anything in order to start separating themselves from the pack. Welcome back. So excited and thankful that you came back. Our channels are growing on Instagram. We just crossed over 1,400 followers. Super thankful for every single one of you. I always say that I see when you subscribe, when you like my videos and comment on them and engage. That means a ton to me. I see every single one of them. Also here on YouTube, we're growing as well. I'm getting a lot of calls from all of you that watch this, and I love answering your text messages, fielding your calls, and seeing how I can just provide more value in your life as a realtor so you can go and succeed. If you're new to this channel and the headlines caught your attention, welcome. I want to create an environment here as you learn to be a top producing realtor. I want you to grab a notepad. I want this to be a classroom-like environment where you can come and learn, and I can learn from you, and together a high tide will raise all ships, and we can elevate this space so more realtors are going and producing at a high level. If you don't walk away with multiple pages of notes, I have failed you. So thank you so much for following or joining us for the first time. Go ahead and like, subscribe, turn on those notifications, and together let's learn from the top producers about how to go and succeed. My first year in real estate, I sold 75 homes. I came from 12 years of the door-to-door space, translated a lot of the same principles, practices, and mindset techniques in order to come in and crush it right out of the gate. Like always, before we jump into today's topic, I've got to talk about a few things real quick, so hang in tight. Every month this year, we're going to go over a book in our program. Why? Because you have to keep your education ahead of your learning. You have to outpace that paycheck with your education. It's the only competitive advantage that you have as a realtor is your knowledge. That's it. So this whole second quarter, we're going over leadership, how to become a better leader so that you can influence more people, that you can take more listings, get more buyers, because with this whole NAR settlement, people are going to want to follow a leader. And that's going to be the single greatest thing that you can do as a realtor to start to separate yourself moving forward this year after July or whenever they announce it or put it into place. So our first book is going to be Leaders Eat Last by Simon Sinek. If you haven't read this is incredible. He's the author of Start With Why. It's going to talk about, as a leader, how you can create better and more safe and loving environments, because when people are in those, they're more likely to divulge and engage with you and tell you what you need to know to best serve them. So go get this book. If you're reading something super interesting, tag us on social media, on Instagram, and you do it the most, then we'll go ahead and send you a free copy with a note from Dwayne and I this coming month. Okay, NAR settlement. First of all, no one knows any details. And I'm gonna leave it at that. We're not gonna talk about it. You're not gonna talk about it. Are things gonna change? Yes. But do we know? No. So business as usual, with the idea that this industry is going to go through some changes, but change is good. Sometimes when certain industries change and evolve and pivot, that's good because it's going to help you get better and be able to serve more people. Those that don't adapt and change, they're going to be out of this industry. Don't be one of those people. What is going to change? You're going to have to learn how to communicate and present your value on the listing side and on the buying side so that those clients of yours are going to want to work with you. Your listings, you're going to need to influence them and educate them and lead them to position their home to all 10 people that are in front of their house. If you have a product and you want to sell it to the most amount of people, you don't want to put limitations on that product and only be able to sell to 2 people. You want all 10. On the buy side, you're going to want to explain your value to them and push the listing agent to pay your commission, or if at the end of the day, get your buyer to pay your commission. Not a big deal. You, though, have to develop those skill sets to present your value on both sides. That's the only thing that's going to change. You need to change and evolve and prepare yourself to get ready for all these changes that are coming. That's it. End of discussion. We don't need a 4-hour Zoom call. I don't need to go through all these trainings. The amount of trainings that some realtors have been on these past couple months is mind-blowing. It's all going to come in an email sometime in probably June. You can read it within 5 minutes, adapt and change and move forward. But I promise you that most top producers don't care. They're not worried about this. Business as usual, knowing that certain things will change. And that's okay. Change is good. It's inevitable. Okay, now that that is out of the way, let's talk about how to move forward. One of the greatest tools that you need to develop as a realtor, whether you're new, a veteran, doesn't matter, is your listing process has to get better. You not only have to take more listings, but you're gonna have to close more listings. How are you gonna close more listings? Well, you're gonna need to really understand how to position yourself as a leader in front of those prospects. And there's certain things that you can do that I've done, that Dwayne has done, that other top producing realtors have done. And we knew that this was coming. The second we heard it, we automatically jumped online. We paid for a couple courses to learn how to develop some type of value add to you. And we put together one of the greatest training manuals that you'll ever see on the listing process. This isn't out there. I've looked, trust me. No one has a comprehensive packet that walks through the entire listing process, best practices, skills to develop, books to read, the psychology behind each section. No one's done that. Well, like I just showed you, we did. If I haven't given this to you before we charge, I want you to reach out, give me a call, shoot me a text, and let's get this to you for free. You're gonna need to learn how to systematize your listings and do so in a way that positions you with the best opportunity to close as many as you can. So moving forward in this episode, I'm gonna go over every single part so that after this, you can feel more confident to not only take more listings, but close more listings. Because moving forward after this NAR settlement announcement, the buy side has more questions. You need to get better at the listing. Go put more listings on the market. When I first got into real estate, my mentor that I paid tons of money to train me took over almost 200 listings and was a listing master. I really learned a ton from him. I've implemented a lot of it. I've also watched and shadowed a lot of other top producers, and this packet, this process we're about to go through will cover all of it. So get out your notepad, get a pen or pencil, and let's dive in. Okay, what is this gonna have? It's gonna have a few things. One, it's gonna have the overall point of the listing presentation. I think a lot of realtors get this wrong from what I've seen and all those that I've coached. You're missing the point of the listing presentation. So let's dive into that. Number two, the general overall process. When you take a listing, what are the next steps in order to optimize or give yourself the best shot at closing it? Three, the scripts. What are they? What to say, how to say it, and when to say it. That's what you need to focus on. The fourth part, objections. Let's dive into them. How to avoid them, but if they do come up, how to overcome them. Then let's dive into books to read. There are certain skill sets that you'll need to develop, and what are they? I've been in thousands of homes over the past 15 years, and there are certain techniques that you can learn and implement in order to create an environment of safety, of reassurance, where they feel comfortable telling you what's on their mind so that you can then close them by providing a solution to their problems. So, part number one, what's the meaning of the listing presentation? I've seen so many packets from other brokerages or other real estate agents that are like this thick, that have 50, 75, 100 pages, and they just go through the market and they go through their brokerage and all this fluff. Eliminate that. If you're doing that, repent, change. That is not the point of a listing process. So what is the point? In the packet, I'm going to talk more about this, but it really comes from the book that we're reading this month, that Leaders Eat Last. And the principle is really simple. When we feel relaxed and we trust who's on the other side of that table, we're more willing to cooperate and be open to the ideas that they're presenting. What that does is it creates an environment for the free flowing exchange of information. Now that you can take that information and best position yourself to provide solutions to their issues. So what's the point of the entire listing process? Write this down. It's to create an environment of safety, of trust, so that that information can freely flow so you can best provide solutions to their situations. Okay, part number two. Now what's the process? Now that I kind of understand what the meaning is behind listing presentations, what's the process? The reason you need a process is it gives you the ability to provide the highest form of customer service to everybody, because you can take them, plug them in, and you know your system will take care of them. So what are they? Write these down. Number one, you'll want to qualify 100% of your prospects. Do not go on listing presentations that are not motivated sellers, that are more like previews, that just kind of want to see what their house is worth. Do not do that. go on presentations that they're actually qualified and they actually are thinking and considering of selling. Now remember, the benefit of going door to door, if you're following this method, is you're essentially on the listing presentation already. So a lot of these next steps don't really apply because you're at the house and you can just get in and you can go through the listing process in front of them there at their home. Most of the time, that's what happens with me. Other times, I get them so excited about the buy that they go under contract on the buy, and then the listing process is a piece of cake. Disregard both those scenarios. These next steps now apply to you. Number 2, drop off a packet a day or two before. That packet's gonna have your commitment to their family, your value propositions, a little bit about the brokerage, a net sheet, comps, the contract. Now, why is it that I want to drop that off? Some might think, yeah, but we don't want to let them read everything. The opposite is actually true. A confused mind will always say no. If you don't do that, what's the objection you're going to get at the end of the presentation? It's going to be, well, this is great, but I need to think about it. I need to look this over. I need to read the contract. So again, objection handling is all about objection prevention. Top producers are trying to prevent all these objections from happening. So how do you do that? Drop off the packet. Encourage them to read it. I want them to look through it. I want them to get as many objections or questions out of the way before I even show up to that presentation. So in all reality, I honestly don't get a lot of objections at listing presentations because they're qualified. They've reviewed the material. And now my job is basically to create an environment of trust, security, safety, love, so that that information can flow and they can shake hands with me and we can do business. Number 3, you want to call and confirm. There's a few questions that you're going to want to ask to call and confirm that appointment. If they don't answer and they don't confirm, don't go. Send them a message. Hey, I'm so sorry that we weren't able to connect and confirm this appointment. My schedule's really busy. Reach back out. Let's reschedule this appointment. Do not waste time going on appointments if they haven't confirmed that they're going to be there. How many times have realtors driven so far out to show up at the appointment and they're not there? Or you show up and they're like, yeah, we thought about it, we're gonna pass. Get that out of the way. Abundance mindset. Don't get stuck in the scarcity mindset where you hold on to a deal and so you don't follow a process. Let it go, okay? Move on. If they're not gonna do it, someone else is. If they're not gonna sell, you'll sell their neighbors, right? You'll always find deals. So call and confirm that appointment. The next part, you're going to show up 15 minutes beforehand, go through the presentation visually in your head, think positive thoughts, bring positive energy, come from a place of gratitude, say a prayer, bless their family, put yourself in a good mindset. Watch a motivational video, say your affirmations out loud, whatever. But that ritual needs to be the same. Again, every time, show up 15 minutes early, go through your process so that you can knock on their door, high five them, hey, good to see you. So excited to be here today. Do you want me to take my shoes off? And then go in. Step number 5, follow the process that'll be in this packet that's in the training manual. Also, make sure to read why we do certain things and what that causes in that environment throughout the listing process. And then number 6, I got this from a good friend that's been doing real estate for a long time. I've done this for a while now as well. Number 6 is to always send a thank you card and crumble cookie or some type of treat that night. Whether they sign or don't sign with you, it's just a good act of service. And it's a good way to put good in the universe, regardless of the return. You're giving and you're not taking. That type of mentality is contagious, and you might as well treat everyone like that. Okay, that's it. Those are the steps every time you take a listing, regardless of who it is. Ideally, if you're going door to door, you're gonna catch them, you're gonna get in their home, and boom, you do this on the fly, so you can't really do some of those steps. Or you get them so excited on the buy that they go under contract that they're like, oh yeah, we'll use you on the list side, and the listing agreement literally is a piece of cake. If you haven't done those, follow those steps we just reviewed. Now the third part, how does the listing process or how does the listing appointment actually go? Well, grab your notepad, let's go over this. If you've been following my channel for a while now, you know that all my books, a lot of them are psychology based. They're human development, human behavior, sociology oriented. I want to understand how humans engage with each other, why they do certain things, so that I can then create the most optimal environment for us to do business together. So my listing presentation process is broken down into 4 parts. Number one, it's the arrival and the prep. A lot of that we just went over. Number two is what I call the movie preview. Number three is the meat and potatoes. It's the question-based selling. It's the listening to them and answering and solving all of their problems. Then number four is close the deal. How do we close this out? Section number one, the arrival and the prep. How does this look? Let me walk you through this. Knock, knock, knock. Jeremy with EXP. How's it going? It's good to see you. High five. Why am I doing the high five? Because that emotional connection, that physical touch is already starting a relationship. The endorphins are released that create that bond. I'm already doing that from the get-go. I don't care if you're 80 years old. I don't care if you're a CEO of a Fortune 500 company. I need that physical touch to start the process, to create that relationship. And then immediately, do you want me to take my shoes off? I look down, I start the motion going in. You don't want to get stuck on the doorstep and then for them to turn you down. So then I'm going to get in the house. And the next step, Mr. Prospect, before we sit down and go through the meat and potatoes of this, I'd love to go take a look at your home and see your home from a buyer's perspective so that when we get all these offers, I can best know how to help negotiate you after listing your home. Oh, sure. Go take a look around. Let's break that down. Why does that phrase work really, really well? Well, I want to go see it from a buyer's perspective. I'm already showing them that I know what I'm doing. And when we're getting all these offers after we list your home, I want to best negotiate on your behalf. So I'm already telling them after we list, after we get all these offers, I'm already starting to prime their mind to get ready to work together and to sign these papers. So we got the physical trust. I've now gotten in the home. I'm starting to use verbal cues. So then I go and walk through the home and I'm not meeting them at their kitchen table. Why? Because it's not time yet. There's a few other things that I need to do in this arrival and prep phase. I'm going to meet them in the living room. Why do I meet them in the living room? Because relationships are created in people's living room. So there's a reason behind this. What am I going to do there? The next part is I'm going to mention 2 or 3 things from their home that I saw. So the whole purpose of walking through their home is to pick up 2 or 3 things that are unique to them. So for example, Mr. Prospect, I love what you guys did in the backyard. Why do you have so many gnomes? Just curious. And then I want them to talk and laugh and create an environment of safety and openness where we can connect. Because when you laugh, endorphins are then released. So again, what am I doing? I'm creating the optimal environment so that when we go to sit at the table, they're now in this mood of gratitude and relationship building, and all their buying pressure and their nervousness about me being in their home is as low as possible. The next thing I'm going to do, now Mr. Prospect, real quick, because your home is so pretty and you've obviously lived here for a lot of years, I'm going to get a lot of calls from buyers when we put our sign out after listing your home, and they're usually going to ask 1 or 2 unique things about the home. I'd like to know what those are so I can best sell your home to these agents. What would be 1 or 2 things you'd like me to answer? Why does that question work? Because when they mention those things, all the positive memories are going to flow. And again, what does that do? It puts them in the optimal state of happiness. When we're happy and we're thinking of memories, it allows us to be in a better, more relaxed state. Go back and watch. Everything that I'm doing is creating the optimal environment so that when we get to the table, the relationship is solid. The last thing of this section is going to be to ask for water and go to the table. Mr. Prospect, let's go chat at the table real quick. I'm gonna leave them there. And as I'm going there, hey, do you mind grabbing me a glass of water real quick? Thank you so much. Why do I do that? Most of the time, I don't even drink the glass of water. I learned this in door-to-door sales before I got into real estate. Why does this work? Well, when one human being serves another human being, that relationship is amplified because you have now served me. So our relationship now has gone a little bit deeper. Okay, now we sit at the table. That's section 1. That whole process is about creating the environment, just like it talks about in the book Leaders Eat Last by Simon Sinek, is to create an environment where they feel trust, secure, and safety to then allow that information to now flow in this next part. Grab your notepad. Section number 2 of the listing presentation is going to be what I call the movie preview. Why is this important? Most realtors, when they sit down, they just jump right in. That's a massive mistake. Do not do that. If you're doing that now, stop and repent. Time to change. Why is it that movie companies pay so much money for For the movie trailer, why is it when you go to a car dealership, they want you to test drive the car? Because when you're at the car dealership, the point of that is to get you to feel and smell and start to envision and paint the picture of you driving the car with your family. So it's worth it to them to put miles on the car and pay for the gas to have people go test drive. Same thing with movie companies. It's worth it to invest all that money because if they can pique your interest, then you'll pay for the movie ticket and you'll go see the movie, and that's where they make their money back. Same thing at a listing presentation. There has to be a movie preview, some type of process that you walk through. So there's 4 things that I do in the movie preview to prep myself before I go through everything. The first one is I'm going to start from a place of gratitude. Mr. Prospect, first of all, before we begin, thank you for the water and thank you for having me in your home. I know your time is valuable. My time is super valuable, and it means a lot that you guys prioritize this. My grandpa used to always say that you can tell what people care about because it's what they prioritize and put on their schedule. So again, thank you for having me here. So why do I start from a place of gratitude? Again, environment. If I start from a place of gratitude, you're more likely as the prospect sitting on the other side to be like, okay, I like this guy or girl. I could do business with them. That's awesome that they are really just appreciative of me, and it makes you feel good. It's those feel-good hormones are still releasing. So now we can develop and create an environment of safety. Number 2, I'm gonna play devil's advocate. Mr. Prospect, now, this is a gorgeous home. You guys have been here a while, and I remember you telling me that you love the neighborhood. Just curious, play a little devil's advocate with you. Why is it that you're looking to move? Why is it that you're trying to relocate? The reason this works really well, when we play devil's advocate with ourselves, it re-cements why we're doing certain things. So I want, before we jump into this, for them to re-cement their desire to move and relocate or sell or do whatever they're doing. It also is going to bring up their why and their pain points and why is it that they're relocating, so that I can then re-emphasize that throughout the entire presentation. Number 3, I'm now going to say, okay, thank you so much for bringing that up. That means a lot that you're willing to explain that. Now, just curious real quick, if we fast forward a couple months, we've sold this, I helped you buy on the other transaction, you're in the backyard with your spouse and your kids, you're sitting saying, wow, that was such a great process. What is it that is going to create that? If you were to look back on the whole process, what would make you say that? What would need to go well in this transition for you to be able to say that? Why does that question work so well in the movie preview? Well, it's going to help them open up and tell me what value propositions I have to mention. If I have a list of 10, I'm gonna only pick 2, 7, 9, and 10 because they just told me to list off those value props. So it's a very strategic question to help you know how to best sell them in this presentation. The last thing of the movie preview is an overview. Okay, Mr. Prospect, Mrs. Prospect, what we're gonna do today is we're gonna talk a little bit about why a lot of your neighbors have chosen to work with me, or if they're a FSBO, why a lot of for sale by owners have chosen to work with me if they're expired, why a lot of people that had their listing go expired chose to use a different realtor and chose to use me. We're going to talk about comps, where I think we should price your house. And at the end of the day, or at the end of this presentation, if you think that we're a good fit, then let's do business. I have the docs ready for you. If you don't feel like we're a good fit, then it's okay. We can part ways. It's okay with me. At least let's still be friends when we see each other at the grocery store. The reason I say it like that is because it brings down buying pressure. I don't want them to feel any pressure that they have to sign paperwork with me, but that allows them to then want to sign paperwork with me because I brought down the buying pressure in that situation. Okay, that's the movie preview. That's section number 2 of the whole process of the listing appointment. Now, number 3, the meat and potatoes. This is going to be the part where you go over your value proposition. If you followed me, I call this my commitment to your family, my blood handshake with you. I'm looking you in your eye. I've signed your name. This is why we're going to work together. If you want that PDF, text me at 702-525-5766, and I will personally send that out to you so you can look at what that looks like. I'm then going to dive into comps. We're going to look at everything that's active, pending, and closed. We're going to talk about price, and then I'm really just going to sit there and listen to them. If you get everything else, then this process, this part is really smooth. And all you're doing is listening and re-emphasizing everything that they've already told you. This is the easiest section of the entire process. You're then going to sit there and ask, now from everything that you read in the packet and everything we've covered, do you have any questions? This is really where I'm going to pull everything out of them And now I know where to take this, whether I did a good job or bad job. What's cool about this entire process is if I mess up right there, I just need to loop back to the process or the section before and go through that again. It's always gonna be the section before you messed up. If you messed up in 3, go back to 2. If you messed up in 2, go back to 1. If you're in 4, go back to 3. That's how it always works. You just loop back, do a better job at this section, and then move forward and try it again. Now, section 4 is gonna be the close. I get asked all the time, and we role play in our role play group every Friday at 7 a.m. and 12:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time about the close. And people bring up objections all the time at the end. I need to think about it. I need to talk to another realtor. I need to look at, I have been on so many listing presentations. I've been in so many people's homes back in the alarm days to close the deal. If you do it right, you're not gonna get hardly any objections right here. You're going to have pulled them out, and your whole process is going to prevent objections and bring them up along the process. So when you get to the end, they're not going to have hardly any objections. It should be as simple as, great, I feel like we're a really good fit. I feel like I can really help you. I feel like you're looking for a realtor like me that can really go to bat for you. Next steps are really simple. Go grab a key so I can get your lockbox ready. And then let me grab your emails real quick so I can have my TC send you over the forms to go ahead and approve. Go grab that key real quick. And what was your email? Boom. And what I'm doing is I'm not saying, hey, are you ready to sell? Let's do business together. It's not a yes or no. Rewind. It's a momentum play. All you're doing is you're moving from one process to the next. And that momentum is getting them to then sign with you. I've been on so many presentations. I've shadowed so many top producers. I've been in thousands of homes, and this works every time. If you're getting objections here, it's because your number 3 of the process was poorly put together. Number 2, your movie preview was bad. Number 1, the walkthrough was bad, and you didn't pre-qual them. And all these objections you could have prevented, and now you're having to handle them. So now you need to know how to handle them right there at the end. If you can, great, you can still close it. But 90+% of the time, your job as a professional salesman in real estate is to prevent it. Don't let it have them bring it up at the end. You should be able to resolve that and prevent it throughout your entire process. You know if your process is smooth, if you get to the end, there's no objections because they brought it up the entire time. That's it. Reach out for the packet. In that packet, it's going to have a section on objections, and it'll have a ton of books for you to go read in order to learn how to do that smoothly. There are specific skills with this NAR settlement that you're going to need to develop. I'm going to need to develop. We're all going to need to develop. Otherwise, you'll be out of the industry. So what are those skills? Those are going to be people skills. Go read How to Win Friends and Influence People, The Code of Trust, The Speed of Trust. You're going to need to learn how to present. You're a public speaker. Your stage is their kitchen table, is their living room. You're walking throughout their home. It's on the phone to set the appointment. That's a presentation. You need to learn how to present. Go read all the books on that. Go watch the YouTube videos and go to the seminars. And then the last one is storytelling. You need to learn to become a really good storyteller. Use your hands, your body language, your facial expressions, your tonality, your ability to laugh, create a good environment. Those are all people skills, public speaking skills, presenting skills, storytelling skills. What's great is since those are all skills, you can go develop them. You can learn them and harness those skill sets to create a good environment where they feel loved, trusted, and secure and safe, to then divulge all their information so you can best provide solutions to their problems. So the question as we wrap up, what are you going to do with the NAR settlement? You're going to sharpen your skill set. If you're not in coaching, shame on you. Get in coaching. If you're not in a role play group, shame on you. Get in a role play group. We have one that's $100 a month. You get 2 role plays a day, Monday through Friday. No one else does that. Come let us train you. If you want to just watch our content on YouTube for free, watch it. You just went over a 40-minute presentation on how to do the entire listing process. We have agents all the time that are watching our stuff for free. They go out and get a couple listings, make $10, $20, $30, $40,000, and then they join our coaching program. Invest in you. That's the answer to this whole craziness of the NAR settlement, is invest in you. You are your greatest asset. You need to sharpen that saw. Hopefully today you took away some things that you can do to better your listing process and your presentation. Share in the comments below what you learned. Tag another realtor. Thanks so much for following and subscribing to my channel. Until next time, guys, again, thank you so much. It really means a lot. This came from an idea of someone that commented on my previous videos, and here we are, giving you what you want. Ask and you shall receive. Reach out with any questions. Help me understand how to best help you. And let's go kill it here in Q2. If you have any questions, again, reach out, and we'll see you next time.